Welcome to another video, guys. Today we're gonna do a part 1 of a super beginner friendly guide with 10 tips you really need to know when you're first starting Raid Shadow Legends. After watching this video, you're gonna have a much better understanding of what you need to be doing in the game, as well as what you're not supposed to be doing in the game, in order to ensure you have a super happy fun time with the game. So if you enjoy the video and find what I'm doing helpful, drop a like and subscribe to the channel. And also, if you have literally any questions about the game, about the weather up there, about what I had for breakfast, you can drop them in the comments below, and you can be sure I will always answer you and try my best to help you out if you have some problems. But now, let's get into the video. Huge thank you to my friend Zadie, who also just started the game through my download link. In this way, with his account, I can really give you the beginner-friendly experience, so we are actually seeing what you're supposed to be seeing at the beginning. The first absolutely massive game-changer tip you need to know when you're starting a raid is you really need to do it through a download code. Like, no questions asked, bar none, the best thing you could start off raid with would be with a download link. And you could be using my download link to get your hands on two of the best epics in the game, which would be Rector Draft, which is honestly one of the best epic revivers in the game. It also gives you a lot of healing, a lot of good buffs, all very, very essential things for you to really be well on your way on your raid journey. The other absolutely massive champion you're going to be getting is Ugo. He is, again, an absolute god of a champion. He's epic, one of the best epics in the game. Even after you've played the game for years, myself included, I still am using Ugo to this day with very big results. He, again, gives you a lot of healing, he gives you a lot of good debuffs, all of the good essential stuff. Really, really strong champion. Do not shoot yourself in the foot. If you have just started Raid without a download link, please make yourself a favor and start the game over. Raid is a marathon, it's not a sprint, so even if you're a few weeks into the game already, if you didn't get yourself a couple of the best epics in the game, do yourself a favor and start over. You're gonna do much better with these champions, trust me. And another thing while we're on this tip is you want to be in the first 24 hours of your new account. You want to go to your promo codes and you want to enter Monkey King as your first promo code here. Because after you enter a promo code, you have 24 hours cooldown on the promo code, and the Monkey King code only works for your first 24 hours. So again, do yourself a favor, jump onto the promo code section, write Monkey King in here, and that is gonna net you, again, one of the best PvP legendary champions in the game, which would be Sun Wukong. Honestly, I'm not making this stuff up, guys. This guy is an absolute beast. This is going to be perfect for you as your first campaign farmer. It's going to be perfect for you for all the player versus player arenas we have in the game. He is a monster of a champion, very strong, very effective. I, to this day, am using this guy non-stop in my arena teams. I'm using him against PvE content. He is just that good. Enough about that. Moving to the next really, really strong tip for a new player, which would be picking your first starter champion. As soon as you finish the tutorial, you will have the option to pick one of 4 starter champions, and no questions asked, bar none, the best champion you could be starting out the game with would be none other than Kale. Kale is a very strong rare champion to start the game with. All 4 of the champions are actually really strong, but Kale is on another level. The main reason why Kale is this strong is this thing. Getting yourself poisons this early in the game, and these are the big poisons, like the strong poisons, is super, super strong. It's gonna help you do a lot more damage than you're supposed to in the early game. But not only that, then he also has a very good AoE attack, so you will be able to use this guy for your campaign farming very well. But the real gem in here is the poison damage, because this deals percentage damage of opponent's HP. And in the early game, this is probably gonna be the biggest amount of damage you could be hoping for. I'm not saying you should restart your game if you didn't pick Kale. For instance, my friend actually did not pick Kale. He did pick the second best champion, which would be Elhain. She's also pretty strong. She has 2 good AoE attacks, both on her A2 Lightning Arrow as well as on her A3 Valley of Death. And yeah, she is indeed also pretty strong, but not as strong as Kale, I can tell you that much. If you're feeling adventurous, you can also go with Elhain, obviously. She's also not a bad champion. She has AoE, she can reduce her cooldowns, getting herself extra turns and whatnot. And if you're really up for the challenge, you could shoot yourself in the foot big time and pick my boy Gallic. Honestly, he is not a bad champion, but compared to the other three, he is not as good as they are. He has an unreliable decreased defense. He does not book up the 100% chance to place his debuff. He also places increased speed only on himself, so he's an okay champion, don't get me wrong. You're gonna be happy if you open him, but you're not gonna be very happy if you pick this guy as your starter. So yeah, do yourself a favor, and if you haven't started yet, just pick Kale and go easy on the game. Tip number 3 is gonna be something very essential in the game you need to know about, which would be affinities. Affinities in the game is this little thing right here. In the game, there's 4 different affinity champions. We have blue, which is magic affinity. We have green, which is spirit affinity. And we have red, which is force affinity. And in the middle, we have void affinity, the purple kind. And what this means is, you can notice here, purple has an arrow towards green, green towards red, red towards blue. So what this means is, blue is strong against green, but it is weak against red. Green is strong against red, but it's weak against blue. And red is strong against blue, weak against green. The purple one, the void, they are normal against everything, and nothing is strong against them either. So they're basically kind of like neutrals. And what this means is, right now you can notice we have our Elhain here as our starting champion. We also have our Wukong. And Elhain is actually going to be strong against these 3 champions. And she's going to be neutral against the blue one. Whereas Wukong, he's going to be neutral against these 3 champions. And he is going to be weak against this champion. I could go deeper into details here, but for the sake of this being a beginner-friendly guide, I think this is enough for you guys. It does revolve on you getting weak hits if you're weak against certain affinity. It does revolve around your crit rate being lower against weaker affinities, but we really don't need to go too much deeper than this. What's important here is basically to notice if you're facing, let's say, 4 blue champions here, with the blue being this, the magic affinity, it's probably not going to be a very bright idea to bring your Wukong against those and expect to be doing too well, because Wukong is going to be weak against all of those blues. And odds of him landing good damage is not going to be as high, basically. Moving down to how you should be gearing your first champions. This is very important. When you first start off the game, you are going to be receiving a good amount of decent items here and there. For instance, yesterday I helped my friend Zadie to gear up his Wukong, gear up his Elhain a little. Nothing too spectacular, obviously. I can already notice he has done a very big mistake here, however, which we're going to talk about in a bit. But gearing up your champions, it's very essential to get decent and smart sets on your starter champions. When you first start off the game, you should be receiving a decent amount of lifesteal gear to use. We can already see he has farmed up some campaign action here. And yeah, he did farm up a decent chunk of a very bad lifesteal gear, but lifesteal gear nonetheless. And the reason why lifesteal gear is so important in your first champion is basically this way you're going to ensure your champions are not going to be dying, at least not dying as much. Because lifesteal basically heals you for 30% of the damage your champion deals. And Wukong, being the monster of a champion he is, dealing so much extra damage with his A3, with his A2, heck, even with his basic A1 ability, he is going to be healing quite a lot just because he has the lifesteal set. Here you can notice we do have the active lifesteal set, and in order to activate a lifesteal set, you need to equip 4 lifesteal pieces of that set. Here, pay attention to this little number here. Next to the set, we have this number 4. This means in order to get this effect, you need 4 pieces of this. Not 6, not 2, not 3.5. It has to be 4. So if you have 4, especially good pieces of the set, you slap it on your good champion, and that way you ensure you're going to be progressing with ease for quite a while. At least in campaign. You can also notice we have other sets with the 2 next to them. Resistance, it's a pretty bad set, but it's what we're seeing right now. It only requires 2 set pieces for it to work. Crit rate also requires a couple of pieces. Speed requires 2 pieces of offense, defense, life. And right now what we have done here is we have a couple of pieces of offense. Here you can see 2 set, attack plus 15%. Very decent. And also a 4 set piece. Heals by 30% of damage dealt. I still remember back in the day when I first started, I did equip my starter champion Kale with 6 lifesteal pieces, which if you've been paying attention up until this point, you should know the 2 extra set pieces, I should have done something else, like a 2-piece set, like even life would have been better than 6-piece lifesteal, because you're not getting anything extra for equipping more than 4 items of this particular set. When you go down the line, you are gonna start seeing other sets in the game, like for instance, Zadie actually managed to farm himself a pinpoint set, which is actually a 9-piece set. So here you would be benefiting if you equip all 6 of your top slots with this set, but for the sake of this being a beginner guide, let's not talk about complicated things like 9 set pieces. The key takeaway here is your campaign farmer needs to be best in lifesteal set, so that it actually does not die, and that way you get to progress in your campaign with ease. So do yourself a favor and make sure either your Wukong or at least your Kale or Elhain has a lifesteal set equipped. And if you manage to farm a second lifesteal set, that's probably also going to be a good idea for you to slap on your second champion, so that both of them have a harder time actually dying. The next thing you need to know while we're on this page is something that Zadie is guilty of doing, is you do not want to be spending too much of your silver early on. Like, yes, at the beginning the game is going to be showering you with a good amount of silver, because you will have the silver pack for free, which gives you 2 million on day 1, 1 million for each day after that, and 2 million on the last 5th day again. But you're going to notice Zadie already bankrupted himself. And the way he did that is by leveling up gear he was not supposed to level up. Out of these here, I'd say these are kind of okay, but what I did notice is he also leveled up a freaking 1-star boot on his Elhain, and this boot is absolute dog water. This boot barely was worth equipping. The only reason we equipped this boot was so he can get the 2-set piece, because we did equip a very good Savage set on this. Because the game gives you this for your first login rewards or something like that. But a 1-star piece gear, you do not want to level this. What he should have done instead is leave all of these items to level 12. This one, even to level 8, honestly, was more than enough for it, because a 1-star piece rolls very poorly. Like, look at this nonsense. 2% crit damage, 1% defense, 2% crit, basically negligible stats right there. But he still spent a very big amount of silver for this, so definitely not a good idea. What he should have done is just have all of these up to level 12. I'm not against leveling up these up to 16, but anything 3-star or less, you do not want to be leveling up above 12. For the sake of this being a beginner-friendly guide, I'm not gonna go over too much about stats and stuff like that, but let's just quickly glance over what these stats actually mean at the bottom. No reason for me to explain what HP, attack, and defense means, really. Speed is actually the most important thing in the game. The speed basically means how fast your opponent is actually going to be taking a turn. If your champion has more speed than the opponent, you're going to be actually the first one to use a skill. If your speed is super much higher than the opponent, you could even actually take 2 turns before the opponent even takes 1. But for a beginner, that's not going to be happening all that much. The key takeaway here is speed is absolutely huge. You want to be looking for speed in all of your items preferably, but as a beginner, you're not really going to have too much options to get speed too much. The most important thing you should know is boots can actually have a main stat speed here. Here's an example of a boot that has main stat right now. Here it is. If you actually level this up to all the way to 16, it's gonna get you 30 speed. And if this was a 6-star speed boot, it would level up all the way to 45, but we don't have that one right now. That's the best place for you to actually get a bunch of speed. Crit rate, again, self-explanatory stat. Crit damage, also pretty self-explanatory. And then we have resistance and accuracy. Resistance is kind of self-explanatory again. It basically means the higher your resistance is, the better the chance of you actually resisting certain debuffs. Let's say if you had a Wukong against you, if your champion actually had a high resist, you would have a good chance of actually resisting this block buff's debuff. So that's basically the key takeaway here. No need to explain further. And also we have accuracy. What accuracy does is, the higher your accuracy, the higher the chance of you actually landing a debuff. For instance, right now our Wukong has very low accuracy, so odds of him actually landing this block buff's debuff on the opponent's champions, not very high. If you want to increase those odds, you gotta find yourself some accuracy. Best place to find accuracy would be on your chest, because it can actually roll accuracy as a main stat, but again, this is a little bit of next level tips. Next up, talking about campaign, it would be a good idea for you to try and 3-star all of your campaign as far as you can, because you are going to be getting a good amount of rewards here at the bottom. Zadie already almost is past the first set of challenges. Here you can see we're at normal. He got himself 227 stars out of 252, and when he finishes all of that, he's also gonna unlock himself a juicy void shard. Here, let me collect his brews, so he has that going for him. And yeah, in order to 3-star, what you need to do is, it says it right here. In order to get a 1-star, you need to beat a stage. In order to get a 2-star, beat stage with no losses. In order to get 3 stars, you need to have 2 or fewer champions with no losses. So in order for us to actually get 3 stars here, he needs to only have 2 champions in his campaign. And he needs to not lose any of these, and that way he's gonna get 3 stars here. Let's see if we can do that for him. I'm not sure if his Rector Draft is actually having any gear or anything like that, but let's see. Let's move it up a little, and let's see if Otto ought to do it after he has leveled up his dudes. Maybe it's gonna be good enough. We can see that we're actually facing a lot of blues here, so that's gonna be a little bit harder for Wukong, since he is a green affinity, he's Spirit. Okay, this batch of champions is going to be a bit easier. We have green strong against red, couple of blues not very great for us. Our Rector Giraffe is taking a beating there. Maybe she's not going to be strong enough to hold. Yeah, I think Rector is going bye-bye. She did heal a little. Okay, maybe she is going to last one more turn, but surely we're going to lose her here. Let's see if we can help her a little. Not really. Yeah, we are going to be losing Rector Giraffe here for sure. Our Wukong ain't doing all that much. Let's slap this legendary champion. Yeah, she is a bye-bye. Let's see if Wukong does this on Otto himself. Yeah, he's gonna be able to handle it. Look how the lifesteal set is healing him back basically almost to full each time he does a big slap. There he goes, almost full health. But still, our Rector Draft was a little bit on the weak side. We can actually check her out. He did equip a bunch of stuff in here, but we can see he is doing a rookie mistake here. All of these sets are basically all over the place. He only managed to fit in a couple of defense sets. He slapped in life boots in here instead. He gave her offense, not very worth it. With attack, not exactly what you need. Defense gauntlets, I guess it's okay in this particular case for him. But we can definitely swap out this chest for something a bit better. Like, let's say this life chest. And I'm gonna do that. It's a 1-star piece, so I'm just actually gonna delete it. It's not worth it for him. And now this way our Rector Draft got herself a little bit extra health. Oh, he even has a ring for her. That's perfect. Equipping a ring is very, very cool. In the first few days of the game, you're not going to have yourself too much gear like that. You're not going to have access to accessories, but he actually got some, so that's pretty nice. And since he's so low on silver right now, I guess it's a good idea for us to check out what gear we could actually be selling here. And honestly, it would be a pretty decent idea for him to just sell off all of these. We're gonna select all the 1 and 2 stars, and I'm gonna not sell his pinpoint because it's super key. Gives you a lot of good extra stats even as a very low quality item on its own. The set is just that strong, so I will do that. But we will sell all of these and get him a little bit extra silver like that. Nothing too fancy, but then again he just started off, so it's still something. The next important thing you need to know about is how you can actually farm food in Raid Shadow Legends, and the reason why it's important to be farming food is that's how you actually rank up champions. So let's actually talk about ranking up champions first, and what does that mean? Right now we can see our Elhain is ready to get ranked up, and in order for her to get ranked up, we need either chickens, which Zadie actually got himself through promo codes and stuff like that, or you need rank 3 champions. When you're first starting off, it's probably not going to be a very good idea for you to be wasting actual rare champions you've unlocked, because you are going to be in need of some of those champions to actually progress across some dungeons. For instance, this champion is very strong, Harris, or whatever she's called. So what you could do instead is you could actually level up rank 2 champions all the way up to level 20. And after that, rank them up to 3-star, and that way you actually get to feed them so that your main champions actually become stronger. Here's how you can farm food actually. The best place for you to be farming food when you're first starting off, if you actually manage to reach level 12 on stage 3 would be the best place for you to be farming food. And the way you do that, you want to preferably have 1 main campaign farmer, a single strong champion, and 3 champions you're willing to actually feed as chickens. You already saw what chickens are. They're basically free rank ups for you. Let's see if his Wukong is actually strong enough. I think he is. It's going to be a little bit slow, but when you become stronger in the game, this should be taking you about 6 to 8 seconds if you manage to get your guy strong enough, and you should. Honestly, after a month or two, you should be able to farm this in 1 minute on auto. Right now, this is looking a little bit shaky, not gonna lie, but the lifesteal set is doing its job so far. There we go, healing nicely. It's gonna be a photo finish. Honestly, I'm kind of skeptical for the next level, because this one is actually pretty powerful. We are gonna heal back nicely here. Let's see if the A2 clutches it. Come on, baby, come on. There you go. There you go, Wukong. Good job, you monster of a champion, you. I can tell you, Kale was not probably going to be able to do this early in the game, so that is why Wukong is such an absolute champion. And notice how all of our chicken wannabe champions, leveled up, and also Wukong leveled up with them. So for stage 3 of level 12 on normal difficulty, all 4 champions received 3500 XP. And even if our Wukong was already max level, he still would have been eating up 25% of the XP here regardless. So that is why it's a good idea for you to have 3 other champions in here to soak up some of the XP, because if we only had 2 champions here, Sun Wukong would have been taking 33.3% XP, and these would also have been taking 33%. And if it was only 2 champions, it would have been a 50-50 split. So that's why it's the best idea for you to be farming 3 chicken champions with a single campaign farmer. You could also abuse this new feature, the super raids. Here we go. This basically does 2 raids at the same time. It is spending you twice the amount of energy. It is getting you twice the amount of XP, but it also is saving you time for you. It's gonna take twice less time because you're basically doing 2 runs at the time of 1. So that's pretty powerful. Let's just hope Wukong doesn't fail us here. We saw he almost died last time. Let's hope we don't waste 2 runs like this now. There you go, lifesteal goes burr. We're actually pretty happy that this champion didn't die instantly here, so we could have done a extra A1 here to get closer to reset our main skills. Problem is, last time we actually got to do that twice, so now we might actually we could have actually lost it, but I think it's gonna be safe because this guy did not land his debuff. And now with the A2, there you go, everybody goes bye-bye, and here's the XP. We got twice the amount this time, 7100 for everybody, and our chickens are well on our way to become nice and leveled. Now we can go over to the tavern and actually show an example of ranking, leveling up. Here's the Spirit Walker we were leveling up right now. If we actually use Bruce to get this guy up to level 20 like this, here we go, we have it at 20, and now we can rank it up with other level 1, preferably 2-star champions. Here we go, a couple of those, we use them as chickens, we rank it up, and now we have ourselves a pretty useless in terms of power and utility for us champion, but it is gonna be used as a chicken for us. Here's a good example, here's Elhain, here's the chickens I'm talking about. These are basically the same as 3-star useless champions for us, and now I'm gonna do this with a couple of chickens and a 3-star useless champion, and we click upgrade and we got ourselves Elhain up to rank 4. And here you're gonna notice all of her stats actually got lower than they used to be, but the cap for her is now much higher, and now once she gets level 40, she's gonna be much stronger than this. Another thing you need to know is you could also be ascending your champions, and that is making them a lot powerful. Here the game is doing a good job at actually explaining this. You can ascend champions by using potions to unlock new skills and greatly increase their stats. A champion's ascension level is indicated by the number of purple stars. Ascension is also limited by a champion's rank. A rank 4 champion can be ascended 4 times, while a rank 3 champion can only be ascended 3 times. The type of potion needed to ascend a champion depends on his or her affinity. The best place to find potions is in the potion dungeons. And right now, the game actually gave us a little bit of potions to start off our starter champions, so we can give a good example of Elhain getting ascended nicely. Here you're gonna notice we have small potions. In order to ascend her higher, we need bigger potions. And at the end game, you're gonna need even bigger potions than that, so that is gonna take a while to get, but we can already see Elhain got a little bit stronger here. Now she has a little bit more HP, a little bit more attack. And also what she does have is the possibility to actually equip a ring. Ascending a champion up to rank 4 would allow you to equip a ring, and Zadie actually does have one right now. If you ascend her all the way up to 5, she's going to be able to equip a necklace. And if you ascend her all the way up to 6, she's also going to be able to equip a banner. And the banners are absolutely game-changing for you because they can give you a lot of extra accuracy, a lot of extra speed, a lot of good stuff basically. While we're here, we can also talk about upgrading the skills of your champions. If you have rare champions, you can upgrade them with the help of rare skill tomes. If you have epic champions, like Rector Draft for instance, you could upgrade them with epic skill tomes. And if you have legendary champions, you could upgrade them with the legendary skill tomes. This is how they look like. Right now Zadie doesn't have any of those, but if he plays a little bit longer, he is going to get his hands on 3 legendary skill tomes pretty easily, if I remember correctly. So this is the reason why some people say that your first rare starter champion is the best campaign farmer for you, just because you could level it up easily through the skills, but I would say that's a little bit of an outdated tip. Nowadays I still prefer just using my legendary Wukong as my campaign farmer, so that is the champion I will be prioritizing first. Don't get me wrong, I'm still gonna be ranking up my Elhain and stuff like that, and right now I could actually upgrade the skills of Elhain here, and notice this would be the main skill you really want to upgrade for Elhain, for instance, because the big takeaway here is that if we upgrade this to level 6, Elhain is going to be able to use her skill a turn sooner. Right now it's on a 5-turn cooldown, and if we level it up all the way to 6, it's going to be on a 4-turn cooldown, which is a lot better. We can notice her A3 is just going to get a bump in damage, and we can notice her A1 is only going to get a bump in damage as well. So if we're actually trying to save ourselves a bunch of tomes, and the only goal for us would be to level up this all the way to 6, what you could do is actually try and cheat yourself a little bit of extra save skill tomes by just using 5 skill tomes here, given we only need 5 levels on this skill. And let's see, we click upgrade and let's see where those land. Oh my goodness, 4 of them landed exactly where we wanted them. Now what we could do is just use 1x1 tomes, like this, and we're just trying to get lucky for the last level up on this skill. It missed. We're gonna do it again. Missed again, sadly. Doing it again. Missed. One more time, this time for real. Again a miss. One more time, this time we got lucky. And if we really want to save ourselves some tomes, this is where you stop leveling up this particular champion. Because spending an entire skill tome just for +5, +10% damage is really not that worth it, especially for their A1 ability, which is the default basic skill. So in this case, it was all about getting this thing down by its cooldown by 1. If we really wanted to, it's not the worst idea to get +10% damage here on the A3, but honestly, you can just stop here and feel pretty good about it. So that's gonna be it for part 1 of this video, guys. I hope you have a much better understanding of what you should be doing and not doing in Raid now. And if you still have any questions, feel free to drop a comment below and I'll do my best to help you out. Don't forget to download the game through my download link from the description or from the pinned comment, so you can start the game the right way. And I'll see you guys tomorrow in part 2 of this video. Thanks for watching. I'm Crystal5, and I'll see you in my next video.